Okay, we are live. So, all right. Hi, everybody. It's Linda
Hey.
Schulte here at Schulte Realty in Orlando, Florida. And we're on here doing a Facebook Live. We're attempting to get a total of 5 real estate agents from across the country on here at one time. California is rushing back to their house. So Margie will be back to her house soon. She, like I said, she had a listing appointment that she couldn't jump away from. And Margie is saying she's here, but I don't see her. Oh, wait a minute. I think I see her. There you are. There she is. Okay. Yay. All right. There's Margie. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yep. All right. Good. Good. All right. We're still trying to get Albert on. Albert's having a little bit of trouble from Miami getting his microphone to work with the devices. So, anyway, all right. Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys all coming on with me and talking about real estate across the country. When I brought this idea up, I think it was Sharon and I actually came up with this concept together. Is that we hear all kinds of stuff going on with the media, and they feed information to people, whether it's about the housing market or COVID. And I just thought it was important for us, for the consumers, to hear it. And I apologize, I'm going to call it from the horse's mouth. That would be all of us, because we're in it every single day. We're all very active real estate agents on our prospective areas, some of us in multiple areas. So I just thought it was a great idea for us to make sure that we get on and talk about this and say what's happening. So I have about four questions that I'm going to be asking everybody. And we're going to give you, I don't know, I know we can all talk a lot as I'm doing right now, but we'll talk for about 1 to 2 minutes about what's happening in the area based on about the questions I'm asking. But before I move on, I want to go ahead and introduce my panel of folks that are on here. I have Sharon Hyres on here. Here's Sharon. Let me. There you go. She's waving at us. I got Sharon on here, and Sharon is actually a licensed. She's been licensed since 2001. Is a broker associate with Future Homes Realty in Florida, focusing on Central Florida market, and is also licensed in South Carolina with RealtyOne Group Freedom. And her concentration is in the Greenville market of South Carolina. Sharon's earned her GRI and also a certified residential specialist called the CRS. And that's one of the highest credentials awarded to residential sales. Sharon's also, just so you guys know, she's also a certified referral trainer and endorsed by the North American Most Referred Real Estate Agents, Michael J. Marr, who I follow very well. And also, she's one of the founding member of Michael Marr's Certified Referral Trainer Academy. And also, she's been on stage with Michael Marr quite a bit as well. And then we also have Catherine Haney, which is also known as Margie. And let's see, Margie is, let me go back to my notes here. She's a licensed since 1999 in Florida and 2005 in California. She's also the broker owner since 2017 of Haney Realty, and a short sales specialist from 2007 to 2011, and has been in customer service and relationship building since the age of 15. And Donnie, I kind of know I didn't get you to send me your information, so tell us a little bit about you, Donnie.
I'm Donnie Garland. I am licensed in both Florida and Virginia. I'm pretty boring, just working always. I'm sitting in my car right now. I'm actually at the closing, waiting for my clients to arrive, so I apologize for the view of a parking lot behind me. So that's pretty much it. I'm distinctive properties. I'll sell anywhere, but anyone who needs help, I'm always here for them.
All right. Well, great. Well, we're still having trouble getting Albert on. So when Albert comes on, I'll introduce him. He's out of the Miami market. And again, pretty much talking getting on here, pretty much I think we all have the same consensus about what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and start the roundtable. And just so anybody knows that's out there, you can go ahead and post the comment and I'll be able to read it. And I think the other people might be able to read it, but I'm not sure. But if they don't catch it, I'll go ahead and I'll propose the question to them. All right. So one of the things, I mean, we've all been going through this COVID-19 in the state of Florida. I think we were shut down, as we call it, since the middle of March. So we're just coming out of it, and we all had to become very innovative with what we're doing. What's changed because of COVID-19 in your business, and what things are you pleasantly surprised by? And I'll go ahead and I'll start with you, Sharon.
What basically changed is lack of physical contact for so long. We resorted to more and more of these type of calls. It's interesting because I already was contacting most of my clients by phone, text, email, as well as what we call power notes, handwritten notes. And I've continued that. And since my business is mainly referral, I've been okay. I do wonder and do want to hear about other parts of the country and how things are working out. But I think it made us use more technology. It made our clients and our potential clients use more technology than they were accustomed to. But it taught me something that I think we're a lot more flexible than we gave ourselves credit. I mean, we can do this, and we can do this, whatever changes we need to do, because sellers still want to sell and buyers still want to buy. And we have a lot of that right now. So we just have to use the safety precautions that are mandated and actually go with the new technology to get things rolling. And Ethan, like, I have a closing next week, and I have to stay outside. The other agent has to stay outside, and just the buyer and seller are at the table. And I think some people have even done drive up, and some of you guys can talk about that, but drive up closings. But I'll be outside waiting in case there's any questions or when they come out.
Yeah, that's kind of what Donnie's doing right now. He's having to sit outside of a closing because they won't let him in. And that's been one of the hardest things for me personally, is they're not letting me in to go into the closings. It's almost like a piece of me is being pulled from my being. Donnie, what about you? Like, what has changed in your when you're doing business?
Well, exactly what Sharon was talking about. We've had to get creative. And like Linda, I'm very much a full service agent. I go to the final walkthroughs. I go to the closing table. I am there with the clients from the beginning to the end. So that's been very hard for me to not be able to go to the closing I'm waiting for is new construction. Well, because of that, I wasn't allowed to be at the final walk for that either, just because this builder's mandating that only the people signing on the documents be present. And the same thing with their title company. So I'm in the parking lot just kind of waiting for them to ask me questions and for it to be done so that I can actually give them their gift and answer any questions about some of the things I'm sure will come up afterwards. So basically for me, I do like Sharon. I do handwritten notes and have been in contact. So I've got a lot of referral-based business. Being licensed in Virginia was interesting because I watched that market very much compressed down, because where I am selling and helping people buy is military areas. So they had stopped a lot of the transfers within the military, and the state was not allowing at all any kind of real estate. We weren't considered essential personnel up there. But we talk about pent up energy waiting because people are having to buy and sell. So I just pulled the stats for the last 7 days that now that Virginia's back open, they've had in the last 7 days 849 new listings, 751 pendings, sold 540, and only 164 have been withdrawn during this time period. So I think that shows that when we come out of this, it's not going to be a flat line curve. We're going to have pent up desire, and it's going to give us kind of a slingshot effect, as it did here in Florida. I've been busy as always, and in Virginia, I think we're going to see the pickup real quick there as well.
Yeah, so. It's interesting that what you just said. I'm finding that here in Florida too. We were always considered essential here in Florida. Right. So I know in some other states that they said, nope, we cannot do any type of real estate. Nothing, can't do anything. So we were very fortunate here that we were able to keep on doing our business. Right. But one of the things, like you said, there was a lot of people that took their homes off the market. And I think actually talking to all of you guys have buyers, and we just don't have enough inventory. So on that note, let me go ahead. Oh, one of the things somebody asked me in a private message, they said, I don't think you can change it now. They want to know what states you guys are from. So I'm just going to cover that real quick. Sharon is South Carolina and Florida. Donnie is Virginia and Florida. And Catherine is also California and Florida. And me, I'm Florida. I'm the boring one out of all of us. All right. So Margie, the question for you now is what's changed with your business and what's pleasantly surprised you with the COVID-19 happening?
Well, the first thing that really surprised me was that my phone started ringing. I was shocked. I had 3 of my past clients say, "Oh, they're ready to sell." I said, "Well, we have the COVID right now. You still want to sell?" And they said, yes, they still want to sell. California came up with a coronavirus property entry advisory and declaration that had to be signed by all the prospective people wanting to go into a home, including the realtor. You were only allowed to take 2 people plus your realtor in. That way I have signed. I took 2 of the listings right away, and 1 went under contract in 4 days. Out here in California, we have very little inventory, and we have more buyers than we have sellers right now. So it is a seller's market because there's no inventory. And what I've seen is that I still make my contact. I'm a relationship person. I like to one-on-one. So I do video, text messages. I do handwritten notes. I call. I do everything with my past clients and the future clients that I meet on a daily basis. So right now, even though we're in a pandemic and everything, our market is still moving forward.
And it's interesting, and I think that Sharon and Donnie can attest to this, is that I had the same experience when this happened here in Florida. I think it was about March. I say it's about March 16th. That's around my birthday. That's when I remember it happening, is that when everything shut down, and all of a sudden my phone's ringing. I want to buy a house. I want to list a house. I want to buy a house. So it was kind of interesting. That was my pleasant surprise. Yep. And lucky, knock on wood, I had excellent buyers because there was a big shift in how people who could get mortgages because they started tightening it up quite a bit. I can't get Albert on, but I'm going to just real quick chat about Miami for him. Albert's from Miami, Trident Real Estate down in Miami, actually located in Miami Beach. And he said he was talking that there's not enough inventory, that he's still seeing it's a seller's market, not a buyer's market. So kind of exactly what we're all saying up here is the same thing he's saying down there. But one of the things that I found interesting in my conversation with Albert is he said that the condo market is getting crushed a little bit, meaning that they're not selling as fast. They're seeing a little bit of a stumble. And also because they did a lot of the short-term rentals, the Airbnbs, right. They're being affected down there as well. They're trying to convert them into rentals. And then it's a hot rental market down there as well. And so, that's one of the things. My next question is there any segment of your market that you see it's affecting either positively or negatively with the COVID? Talking about, is it condos, single family homes, price points, for instance? Are you seeing things happening more quickly with the under 400s, under 300s, under 200s, and and that kind of thing? So the question is, did you see this affecting any segment of your local markets? And we've already talked about the buyers and sellers, but of course I know we're all going to go into that. So I'm going to go ahead and Donnie, I'm going to let you talk about that first.
So it's interesting. Yes. When the market, when the loans started to tighten up, that's when we started having a few problems with people that needed employment verification. It wasn't that they were not employed. All of a sudden, the lenders were requiring their hours to maintain exactly the same. And that's one of the ways they were using to not secure loans for these people, which, very frustrating because you've gone the whole process to find out prior to closing that you're no longer qualified under the fact that you didn't have the same exact hours that you had when you went under contract. So that was a little disheartening. We're seeing some of that shifting and changing. I've seen a couple lenders that are now back to 619 is the lowest that they will service a loan for, which, government-backed loans. I think personally, I think the market we're going to see the most impact in both Virginia and here in Florida is I think it's going to be the first-time home buyers in those lower price points, because those are really are the backbone of America. Those people are working at hourly jobs that they have now either lost or they've been furloughed, I don't think they're going to come back as fast. I think we're going to see that segment have a little bit of slipping, in my personal opinion. The higher segment, I think they're fine and they have the credit scores and they should have the money and the wherewithal to still buy and sell. But I think we're going to see the entry-level homes starting to slide a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. I was talking with somebody here locally about the luxury market, and their opinion, they're not on here with us, obviously, but their opinion was that they felt the very high end, that they're not seeing those increasing in values, and they perceive that, and here in Central Florida at least, that it's going to be taking a little bit of a hit on the, I would say, above the $800,000 market. And I know, Sharon, you deal a lot with luxury markets, and I know you're in the process of getting another certification. So tell us a little bit about your area in South Carolina.
Well, in South Carolina, since I'm newer in South Carolina, I haven't really hit much of the luxury market. But in Central Florida, I do have a listing for $1,750,000, and it's not a new listing, and it hasn't taken a recent price reduction. And Saturday, I had 2 showings. That is incredible to me to have 2 showings on that price point, not a new listing, not a price reduction. It actually told me maybe we were guessing them wrong in that market, because I was like Donnie, thinking kind of the same thing, is that might take a hit because of the stock market and things that happen in the stock market, because there's a lot of cash buyers in the luxury market. So I actually thought the same thing until Saturday. And when I had 2 showings of that, $1,750,000 is not little, in the same day. And oh, by the way, another interesting part is I thought if they came in that price point, they would probably come from New York, Chicago, somebody that got hit by this, hard by COVID-19, wanting to get out of there. And those were both Florida buyers. Oh. So, I guess sometimes they surprise us. I think the luxury market's a lot tougher than we thought. I mean, as far as the people are a lot tougher than we thought, because like Donnie said, they don't have to worry about the credit issue. So now it's just, are they ready to buy?
Okay, gotcha. And Sharon, is there any segment of your local market up there that's been hit by the COVID? Is there any kind of shift up there in South Carolina? The under 300s, 200s, condo, and so forth?
Yep. I haven't seen anything except the only thing that I've seen that was, and Donnie alluded to, or one of you, I think you alluded to it, Linda, was the people that are doing Airbnbs. Those were kind of shut down because the governor said, no, you're not doing those. I think that just started again, but they got hit pretty hard because the entire lockdown time, there were no short-term rentals. There were no Airbnbs. That was not allowed. That was, the governor said, no, absolutely not. So that market got hit. I'm seeing, I have a closing here next week, and I didn't have competition on the house she bought, but the house she was going to buy the day before, it's busy. People were there before her, saw it before her, and got the offer in faster, and the people accepted faster, because I think some sellers are a little concerned with, I better take this offer. So I think this is important, what you're doing, because it's letting people know that this is what the market really is. What we're telling you is what it really is. Right. And there are buyers out there. There are competition, and basically get your offer in, make it fair. And in Florida, by the way, multiple offers in Florida, under 300,000, multiple offers.
And that's a true statement right there. And when the person I was talking to earlier, and also to Albert in Miami, he said that if the home is priced at market or priced close to market, and here's the key, okay? Here's the key, and I think you can all agree with me, is if the house is in good condition. So people who are listing their homes, please recognize that buyers are not just going to come and buy things that things are a train wreck in the home. They're going to be looking at it. They're being very picky. I know buyers are being more and more picky lately. It's not going to a buyer's market yet. It's not there. So it's just, and what you said, Sharon, is fair. Be fair about your offers. Be fair about what you're asking for. And so let me go ahead and put it over there with you, Margie, and talk about California. And have you seen any kind of changes in your area with different segments of the market?
Okay, well, first of all, we're in the largest county in the United States, San Bernardino County. We're also in the most affordable area. We're 60 miles north of LA and 2.5 hours out of Vegas. So we're in a very affordable area. High-end homes are in what they call Apple Valley and parts of Victorville. Those homes are still moving pretty decently. I see very few that have been on the market more than 90 days, honestly, which is really good because before it was 6 months, and now they're moving a little bit better. I see that the buyers are looking to get something now. Sometimes the first time home buyers, they are sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, now's the time to get a house. And it basically is for them. So our market's doing strong. That's about all I can say about it right now. I'm really positive about seeing that more people are going to come. The only negative thing is that drive going down what they call down the hill. Every day is an hour and a half. And we have a thing called the Cajon Pass that is a little treacherous sometimes, but people are still doing it.
Yeah, I've heard too, and I can't say what's going on in other states, but in Florida, I've been hearing a lot of people wanting to move here from other states down to Florida, and they don't want to go in. They want to go more rural. They don't want to be inside the cities. They're looking for some more space. And again, I'm out because Albert's not on here, so I was just talking for the Miami market. That people out of New York are saying, "I'm sick of it. I'm done. I want to leave. I want to go to some place where it's less dense." And they're choosing Miami. We're in Orlando. I think Miami's super dense. So, that's something that we all need to think about too, is that people are looking, they'll do the longer drives into the city to the jobs, or we have a lot of people who come here because they want to do the work from home kind of situation. So, Sharon, this question was asked of you. It says, just kind of curious about those luxury buyers. Were they wealthy people stuck in quarantine with their families who wanted to buy a second home?
One of the buyers, this for Saturday, one of the buyers was selling a home on the beach in Sanibel Island for 2.2 million. So this is actually a downsize for them to 1.75. And the other buyer is in the medical field, one of the big hospitals in Orlando, and he is one of the officers in the medical field. I think medical stuff's probably doing pretty well right now. So I guess it's segments for that kind of thing, for finding out where that's coming from. I still do believe what Linda just said. I still do believe that people are going to try to go to some land, a little bit more land, a little bit less density. I still believe that's happening. And I think they'll be coming from other states, particularly to Florida, hopefully South Carolina too, but particularly to Florida. I believe that's going to happen.
Yeah, the other thing too, talking about the Miami and more land, when I was talking with Albert, he's like, there's not a new building going on down there, so it's more resales. They don't have much land. Here in Central Florida, we still have a lot of land to build on, and I know Donnie works a lot in the new housing market, selling a lot of new homes, and that's one of the things. People are coming here because there's more space. You can have more house, brand new home. And there's just more room to be able to purchase in Florida. One of the things I wanted to mention is I did something back on May 15th that talked about the market pulse here in Orlando, and it looked at what happened in April of 2019 versus April of 2020. And one of the things that I noticed that there was nearly, for the new listings coming on, there was nearly 50% less listings that came on in April 2019 versus 2020. And there's a supply and demand situation that goes on. We have people buying, we have less people listing their homes, or they're putting them off the market. They're waiting, so that causes the supply and demand issue. And that's why our prices are staying up there. They're not dropping, and I don't see a lot of people refinance. So it's still going to be a seller's market, or we're getting a little bit more balance. It's not like they're asking for 20% higher than what the market calls for. The other thing too, real quick, I wanted to talk about, I did my statistics. I do Orange and Seminole County only last 7 days. And we had 147, let me double check to make sure I put this right number in here. Yeah, we had 147 new listings, but we sold 133. So that's just Orange and Seminole County. So you have to see, we need more homes because we have a lot of buyers that we're all working with. So, all right. So the next question I've got on here is, are you guys operating almost normal in the market at this point? And how are things going? I think we've already answered this pretty much, but it sounds like most of us are like back to normal. So, hey, Margie, what's going on over there in California? You back to normal or our new normal, which I hate that word?
I hate that new word, back to a new normal. I see myself busier now than I was 4 months ago.
Right.
And so that shows me that that's something that's new. People, like you said, people were doing refinances a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months ago, and now they're settling in. And I see that we still have buyers. I had a phone call yesterday, new buyer, first-time home buyer, looking to get a home. They're getting themselves pre-approved, and we're going to hit the market trying to find them the home. So my new normal is still doing the things I always do. I'm still going to make my phone calls, my video, text messages, keeping in contact, especially right now because if some of our people have lost their jobs and stuff, maybe they just need somebody to hear them.
Yeah. And that's why you said you're a relationship real estate agent. And that's, yeah. I think that's what all of us are like. This is what brings us all together all the time. And I heard you talk about you were doing video and video text messaging. And I think all of us have been doing that even before this. But right. Obviously some we're all upping our game, like doing this thing, for instance. So that's kind of, I guess I don't know that I actually, me personally, I'm not really sure anything really changed that much for me while we were in the lockdown. I just upped my game a little bit. I got a little bit more, I had more fun doing things like this and then reinventing some things that I've already been doing in the past. So Donnie, tell us, what about you? Are you back to, how are you feeling things are going? Is it we're going to have to come up with a new name for this. What's your new normal? But we have to call it something else.
Well, I'll be honest. I started the year a little slow. I was probably pacing about to be 5% off, and I have quickly made that up during the pandemic. Like Marjorie, I think I stay in contact with everybody. I've had lots of questions about forbearance and what they can do on that. So the cards, the handwritten notes that I was sending out to people have really paid off in the fact that I've gotten a listing from one of my past buyers. We're selling his mom's house now. And that was something that, out of sight, out of mind, probably wouldn't have thought about me. I got that. And one of my other past clients has decided to move back to California. So, we're keeping in contact with these people. And so that's more the new norm for me, is more of a day-to-day contact with everybody in my sphere. I was really good about touching the sphere, calling and saying hi, sending out anniversary cards, but now I've gotten really into that kind of groove of really engaging with them more. And I think that's what one of my new norms is going to be, is really just keeping the contact going.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, I think we were all pretty good about that, but it's kind of like shifting it a little bit. I think we were all very genuine and coming from our hearts, but, it just made you pick up your game a little bit more on, really being, calling it being more sincere. I think we were all sincere to begin with, but really having that compassion, because I don't know about you, but I'm making phone calls to make sure, hey, are you doing okay? It's not because I want to buy or sell a house. I really want to know, are you okay? So,
do you need anything?
Yeah, do you need anything? And, and I was very honest. It's like, if you need somebody to go to the grocery store, I'm not your person. But if you need me to find somebody to do it for you, I'm your person. I'll find someone. I'm good at connecting. I connect people. So, all right, Sharon, how about you? What about you and what should we call it? We don't like the word new normal. What are we going to call this?
I don't know.
Put you on the spot.
I like to think, I wish I had a great name for it. I might think about that and get back with you. But I do think that one of the hardest things for me is I like to see your expression, be there, hear intonations in people's voices, not over a telephone. So the lack of physical has been harder for me. Doing this is second best, but it's not the same thing. So the more that we can actually see them, even if we have to wear a mask, then I think that will help us. That's a change. That's a big change for me. Starting with somebody and actually showing them your face and putting your mask back on. That's a big change for me. But we've made the adjustments, and the big thing is that all of us are still here doing what we've done, and we're saying these are, maybe we'll call it our adjusted. I don't know. We're going to have to make the adjustments, and that's what we need to do. But I do want to say one other thing, that you did some stats, and I did run them too for South Carolina. I ran for South Carolina, and I read them for the Greenville area, the metro area. And it was interesting because state and local were similar. Basically, the first, like, days on the market decreased. Thought that was really interesting. Decreased. And this is as of the end of April, because we don't have the May results in yet. But they actually, days on the market decreased was surprising. In both areas, they decreased. The percent of sale, this is why I say make genuine offers. Where the houses are selling, we're selling at statewide. We can do statewide first. 97.7% year to date, and in April, 98% of lists. I mean, that is like, okay, you're right up there. And so statewide, same thing. In April, they were selling 98.4% and 98.1% year to date. So it's like it's not time for the low ball offers, because it still is a seller's market. And the one other thing I wanted to say, I know we got time here, is a month's supply of inventory is less than, it's 4 months supply, 4.1 months supply in Greenville, and 3.6 months supply, so less than 4 months supply in the state. So as you know, less than 6 months supply is a seller's market. So not just that we're guessing on this, we're around the board here saying we need some houses to sell because we have buyers looking and would like to buy them.
Yep. Yes. Thank you, Sharon, for making that comment. Yeah, we're depending on what price point you're in, we're still doing, on the average, we're about 97% of list price to purchase price as well. And about 67 days on the market, depending on, just doing I did last 30 days looking at that. Let's see here. I don't think we have any other questions from anybody. All right. So here's another thing too. I know, oh, by the way, I think I came up with it. We're going to call it PC, post-COVID. And two other things I wrote down some notes. I just wanted to make a comment about this, is that, Donnie, you'd mentioned a lot of people doing forbearance right now. And, one of the things that I just talked to a mortgage person about it recently. And, just before you call up your mortgage company and talk about a forbearance, talk to a trusted person, call a real estate agent, somebody you really, really trust, and talk about that. Not that we can give advice on mortgages, but at least we can set you in the right direction, because so many people are going to go, oh, this is really cool, I don't have to pay for 90 days. But then when the 90 days is up, it's like, hey, you owe me the last 90 days and this month. So that's 4 months. Right. And if you're not back to work, that's when the process, because you can put yourself in more hot water. Not all servicers are doing that. And remember, the servicers are working to earn money. They're not working for you. They're working for the investor. And this is where I always have to say, you need to have a trusted real estate professional to call and ask questions to. And I can attest for all of us on here, call, ask the questions. If we don't have the answer, we all know who to put you in contact with. So it's, I'm gonna get off my high horse on forbearances. And then one more thing before I ask more questions of you guys is, Sharon, you were talking about the personal, where we have a mask on, and then we're like, hey, this is who we are. I was in the grocery. I have to always do something funny. I was in the grocery store the other day with a mask on. I asked somebody, hey, do you know where the coconut is? And he's like, yeah. He started to show me around. I looked at him, I said, can you tell I'm smiling at you? He goes, what? I said, can you tell that I'm smiling? And he's like, yeah, that's kind of funny. So anyway, I always have to make a little bit of a funny joke. So, okay. So another question on here is, what positive things or ways of doing business did you learn that you will keep doing as we emerge from the recent COVID restrictions? I think we've already addressed it a lot, but it's always good to hear it, when I've asked the specific questions. So what kind of things did you learn or reinvent or recreate during this the COVID restrictions that you're going to be carrying on for the rest of your business. That's going to be a plus. Sharon. Sharon.
I actually I did a lot of training during this time. It's actually the lockdown time was completely database training, writing cards, trying to figure out, okay, what can I do better? And so I did a lot of training. I'm actually going to take a test. I'm now ready to take my test for a broker's license in South Carolina as well. So I don't just have a broker's license in Florida at that point. So looking for ways to make myself better. The other thing that I did learn is nothing really stopped me. You might pause. I think we all paused and we said, wait, the buyers and sellers paused. But even the one, I have a buyer that was under contract and immediately had to cancel contract when this first started, and because furloughed. And now the positive part of that statement was just hired back and only needed 2 weeks of checks, proof that you're back. And they are the ones that I wrote an offer for today. So I think that it's kind of like maybe we learned that these buyers and sellers weren't gone. They might have been afraid. This was something so different and kind of scary. So they paused. So as long as people get their jobs back and we have lending available, I believe that we're going to keep going forward. Now we do have to worry about the end of the year. So we got to keep saying to people, if you are interested in selling your house, we have buyers, because we can't let that all get messed up. That supply and demand thing that you were talking about, Linda, it'll be kind of one-sided if we can't get people to understand that right now there's buyers, they have jobs, they're approved, they're ready to buy a house. If you want to sell yours, then you're waiting for what? Maybe get your house on the market, because we're all saying the same thing, is that we could have kept going, but we all paused. And we all said, what do we need to do differently, and make an adjustment. We made adjustments. Maybe adjusted normal. We made adjustments. And the adjustments we made actually helped get rid of the fear as well. It's like, let's move forward. What do we need to do to move forward? And I believe that most people that I know that I work with have been really positive. And some of them were afraid, but then said, what do I need to do? And that happened with buyers and sellers. Sellers are now the other thing about my report that I was reading is that the statistics show this. They show that if we weren't, you said something similar, Linda. If we were bringing on the houses that we should have been bringing on as we were selling them, then it would be more of a balanced market. But since we're not getting the listings on fast enough, the buyers are buying them faster. So it's keeping that under 6 months seller's market. So that could change. It could change if we got a lot of listings and the buyers didn't match. But according to basically our statistics were saying this lack of inventory is what has kept it a seller's market in the state and in the local area. Right.
I'm goofing around with my screens now, so I apologize.
They look good.
I know, and we all say this over and over again. It's listings. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, let's flood the market with listings. It's people are sitting on them, and I'm struggling. I've got buyers that some are cash buyers, and they're incredible, well-approved buyers that I just need to find houses for. And I'm just I'm like, ready to walk around and knock on someone's door. Like, can you sell your house to these people?
Linda, what is the price range that's the most needed in Orlando, do you think? Or Donnie, what do you think's the multiple offers? Because I was under 300 getting multiple offers there. So I'm wondering if that's pretty much right. Under 300 is still really needed.
Yeah, I think it's also what Linda said, if the house is priced correctly. So I had a house on market at $455, great neighborhood, 4.3 on a lake. We listed at $455. We had well above asking 3 offers, and within 24 hours, the seller decided they were done. They had the offer that they wanted, very strong offer, and we went pending within 24 hours on that. So if the house is priced correctly, it's going to go fast. The 250 to 350 range, I think that's where we're seeing, if the house is getting priced really well, we're getting multiple offer situations where the sellers can just choose anybody that they want to at that point.
Yeah, and definitely the 250 and below. If the house is, again, if every area is different, so if you're listed your house for 250 and you're in Windermere, of course it's going to go very quickly. But if you listed it for 250 and you're in a mobile home area of Castleberry, for instance, it's not going to go quickly. So every area is a little bit different. But I'm dealing with, I have one person who's under 250, or 250 and below, that they're looking, and I'm having trouble finding something in the location that they want.
Right.
And but for the most part, everybody else is 400s and up to $1 million that I can't seem to find anything for at the moment. So that's what I'm seeing down here. And again, it's all about pricing, location. As they say in real estate, it's location, location, location. So hey, Margie, what about you? What positive things do you think you're going to be bringing out from this, from your experience in with the COVID-19?
Well, I know with the COVID-19, since I was sitting at home and doing a lot of stuff with letters and stuff, I also was listening to a lot of podcasts that I had never done before. So I found I have 2 books full of notes of stuff that I'm going to go through it and try to incorporate some of the good ideas to see if they're going to work for me, which I'm sure they will, because I only took the positive notes for myself and for the area. And, we're in an area right now where like 250 to 280 is the median price range. Like I said, we are most affordable. So I'm going to be taking that and moving forward and doing a lot with first-time home buyers, trying to get them to understand that instead of being a rental and you're paying $1,800 a month, you can be a homeowner and pay $1,600. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay, good. Gotcha. And what about you, Donnie? Anything that you can say that you're going to be taking from your experience going through COVID? You're going to, as we emerge out of this, what you're going to be bringing into your post-COVID market?
It's definitely the video, the touching through video. Like Sharon and like Margie, I've a big learner, so I've been studying and listening, podcasts, discovering some podcasts that people referred back to. I finally started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad because within one day of listening to 3 different podcasts, it must have come up like 17 times. So I'm taking that as a sign from the universe. I need to finally read it. So reading and the education part of it. Education is something that nobody can ever take away from you. So the more that you learn, the more you stay on top of your game, like Margie's saying, trying those different things that she's learned to increase her business. I think that's going to really help us out as we come through this. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to be a cleansing of a lot of real estate agents, but I'm hoping that some of the real estate agents that are, part-time or not doing what they really should be doing as real estate agents for their clients may get kind of swept away a little bit. And those of us that are learning and educating ourselves are going to be better able to serve our clients on the other side.
And you know what? You just said a word, serve. And I think I can attest for everybody, we all come from a servant leadership perspective where it's about what can I do for you first? Right. And then let me see how you might be able to help me. I think we all lead with that first. We all come from that type of a mentality. I think I don't know if it's a character or what it is, but I can tell you, knowing all of you for a very long time, that's how we all are, how we all are cut from that kind of cloth. So, okay. So my last question for you guys is, what positive things that was the last question. What are your feelings about how the rest of the year, how's 2020? How do you see it playing out for the rest of the year as far as the market goes? And I personally don't feel that we're going to be shifting to any kind of a buyer's market between now and December. I know my crystal ball is broken, but what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing and what I've heard from even the National Association of Realtors, the economists, is talking about, this is a blip on the screen, and then we're going to get back to it. I don't think that we're going to be back to what we were before real quick, but we're going to be building back up again to where our markets are happening again. So tell me, I'll start with you, Sharon. So tell me, what's your thoughts about what the market's going to be? What you feel like the market's going to be for the rest of 2020?
I wanted to go with not just me, so I actually asked my broker here the same question, and her feeling was she feels like the people that have been working their sphere or their circle of influence, whatever you want to call it, like we're talking about, that have been staying in touch and kind of are there to help when those buyers and sellers are ready. Their business should be fine because they've stayed in touch. The people that kind of stopped doing business and stopped staying in touch with people, probably not so much. But as far as the market in general, we feel optimistic because of the activity we're seeing right now. And because of the report I just mentioned to you, there wasn't a lot of negative on there except the lack of inventory. And it was basically positive. The only thing that we really haven't discussed that's kind of a downer to discuss is that the people in the service industry are having a tough time. And I don't know how much that's going to affect the total market, because if their businesses start back and either they start earning money, but the businesses start producing revenue, I think that we'll probably be fine through December, and we might have a little bit of a downturn because of normally, she mentioned, my broker mentioned, that normally in September, because of an election year, everything seems to slow down. I'm not sure we will this year because everybody's waiting so long. I mean, we would have been, these people that are so in a hurry now would have started a little bit sooner, and our busiest time would have been almost past right now. We'd be right in the middle of it. Instead, it seems like it's still accelerating. So it just feels like that's not going to happen. Not going to slow down in September. And I agree with you that it feels like, and I have no crystal ball either, but from my indications and the people I'm talking with, they're ready to do this. They're ready to go forward.
Yep. I agree with you 100% on that one. And Donnie, what about you? What's your thoughts on the market from now through 2020, the end of 2020?
I agree with Sharon. So listening to a Brian Buffini podcast that he had NAR on, and they made an interesting analogy. It's that the market will come back, and the way to think about it is that we weren't really in a free fall. We had pumping of the brakes, so we kind of paused as we went down. Now we've gotten to the bottom, and because of the pausing going down, our momentum to go back is not going to be as strong. So we're not going to probably return to where we were. It's a matter of now how far back up are we going to get to go with that reduced momentum before the end of the year. I think I don't think we're going to see a buyer's market necessarily until 2021, sometime maybe second quarter, just based on the data that we have currently. Because you have the sellers and you have the buyers, and we're kind of imbalanced. Like Sharon said, inventory is a little lax. Right now, we don't have enough to sustain 6 months, so that still makes it a seller's market. I think once we're past that, we're going to start seeing some of those, the people that Sharon were talking about, the hourly employees, who are going to be having a little bit of issues if they haven't gotten the forbearance and things like that done. And I keep saying forbearance, and not necessarily forbearance is a good thing, but the government at this time at least stepped in to kind of help people out ahead of the issues where we're not going to see a lot, hopefully, of foreclosures quickly coming. So I think we're good to the end of the year, and I don't think we're going to have a slowdown just because it is an election year. I think we're going to still coast right through that, and into 2021. Like I said, second quarter, we'll probably see a little bit of pause, of riding of the market, and we'll see what go on from there.
All right, gotcha. And what about you, Margie? What's going on in California? What do you see happening out there in 2020 besides the buyer I'm referring out to you?
And I've already been looking at a bunch of houses over there. I'm going to take a drive over there. Anyway,
awesome.
And I'm going to preview a bunch of homes. Anyway, I've listened to the California Association of Realtors economist and another economist in the past month. In fact, one of the economists is going to be speaking again in 2 days. And they're in agreement with Sharon, Donnie, and you, is that our market's going to stay pretty much the same right now. And there's not going to be that much of a shift of it going to a buyer's market right now. And until the end of the year, I think we're still going to be pretty steady. We may see a little bit of a hiccup second quarter of 2021, but I don't think it's ever going to be back like it was in 2007. So that's where I'm at with that. And listening to the economists, you just keep on doing and keeping everybody informed. If we keep our sellers and our buyers informed, and they know that they can trust a professional instead of just somebody that picked up a license to make a commission, we're going to keep our sellers and our buyers informed. And I think that's the main thing, is our professionalism, which there's a bunch of us out there.
Right. Nope. I agree with you 100%. It's, just make sure you're contacting somebody who's been doing it, has had a lot of, not just for a long time, but had several transactions, many transactions underneath their belt. And I have heard more people talking about second quarter 2021 that we might be seeing some things happening with housing. But I want to make sure, and I think you could all agree, people think that what happened back when we had the great housing crash back in, I guess what happened in 2008, 9, 10, that was absolutely nothing to do with what's going on right now. That had everything to do with bad lending, bad lending. And we all know it's any of the buyers like, hey, last time I tried to buy a house, they didn't ask me for my DNA, they didn't ask me for this, they didn't, and that's because they're being more cautious. There are so many checks and balances in place that they're preventing this from happening. In fact, just right now, they put the brakes on, like, hey, listen, some lenders even said, listen, if you don't have a 640 score, we're not going to go ahead and lend on you right now. So we put, like you said, the pumping, like they were like, hey, we gotta make sure we got some good buyers out there that are going to be able to sustain this. And so that's what people need to realize. And anybody that's wishing, hoping, and praying that we're going to have some kind of a crazy drop where people are selling their homes for 1/3 of what they bought it for, I want you to stop that kind of thinking, because that is not good for our economy as a whole.
Right.
The housing industry, and I think you could all attest to this, is one of the top drivers. Lending, housing, and medical are the top drivers of our economy in the state of Florida. So I know Donnie's chomping at the bit to say something. Go ahead, Donnie.
Well, because so that drives me crazy. I want a deal. Well, with that deal comes other problems. So now you're going to get a deal, but your interest rate is going to be so much higher than it is right now. So right now it's a really good time to buy if you can buy, because interest rates are low. So that's increasing the amount of home that you can afford. So if you're waiting for that magical house to appear, the unicorn, with a great interest rate, it may never come. So, don't wish that on yourself, that you could be not really priced out of buying, but what you're going to get is going to be so much less because the interest rates you're having to pay. So that frustrates me when people, I want a deal. Well, what cost is that deal going to cost you?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Are you going to be at a 5% interest rate? Because with inflation comes higher interest rates. And when we're producing money that is not backed by, the government is just producing, inflation is right around the corner from it.
Mm-hmm. So very good.
Housing is the key factor to keeping everybody kind of on a level playing field. In my opinion, I'm not an economist, nor am I a lawyer or a mortgage person. Real estate agent.
Right. Did Margie or Sharon, did you want to make a comment about the hoping and wishing, I want a deal kind of person?
I'm seeing them, but I don't really think that most of them are in that mind frame. Some people are thinking this is the time to get it at the bottom, and I think they're being surprised when their offers are being rejected. I mean, rejected, not countered. Right. Rejected because they are looking for be fair on your offers. But there is one thing I wanted to say that I read today, and that mortgage applications have just increased 9%. So that's nationally. So if nationally mortgage applications increase 9%, that says a lot about where we're going. That's future business. That's business that's coming. So I'm real interested to hear on that side of things what the financial people are thinking, because I mean everybody I'm talking with says just keep going because it's busy.
Yep. Right. That's what I'm hearing too. And I'm hearing the lenders are super busy, either with refinances or with new home purchases. Margie, did you have anything you wanted to add about the housing market?
Well, with the people in the offers, I think, and I'm a hands person, excuse me. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, I love it when they come to me and say, well, I'm going to need to replace the carpeting. that's great. But you know what? That doesn't enter into the price of the house. So you can't go in and say, I'm offering 20,000 less because I want to put in new carpeting. And it's trying to make them understand, when you're looking at a home, remember, what you're going to do to it cosmetically is not what the seller's going to give you on the price.
True. That's very true. Yes. I mean, I've been seeing some people here locally that putting in offers and like, well, I have to change out the carpeting. It's, make a fair price. I think Sharon mentioned that. And sellers, make sure your houses are, in good shape. And, the days of trying to sell a house with a 20-year-old roof on it for top dollar are probably behind us. As I said earlier, our consumers, our buyers are being, well, they're being coached by really good real estate agents, one, and two, they're also, they know they don't want to buy something at the top of the market or what they perceive to be top of the market, and then they have to put in, a lot of money because they have to put on a roof or whatever. So,
well, then I have one thing to say about the market in general.
Sure.
When the contract that's getting ready to close, we knew in this current market that low ball offer was not going to be accepted, taking a lot off their price because the house is in immaculate condition. So we chose to, what else can we get? So give them the fair offer. If you feel like the house is priced correctly, then you might need to pay what they're asking. But in the meantime, maybe there's other things you can get, some personal property, anything to move it to where you feel a little bit, you might be paying list price, but what else is the seller willing to give? And guess what? Many times we actually got a bunch of stuff, so it wasn't the price so much because we were not able to get actually appraised. We just found today higher than the contract. So giving them what they asked for was just fair. But then for the buyer's moving off of a boat. Didn't have a lot of stuff. So we're like, okay, what can they give?
Did you say the buyer's moving off of a boat?
A boat, lived on a boat in California.
Hey, look at that.
And moved to South Carolina and wanted a house. So or moving to South Carolina. So here's the deal. Maybe if you have, like Linda said, somebody you know and trust as real estate agent that you're working with or broker that you're working with, talk with them about what methods could you possibly use, and there's other ways than just price. Work on some other avenues to get everybody mutually agreeable.
Yeah, terms and conditions. So, well, listen, we're almost at an hour on here. So, luckily Albert wasn't on here. We'd be here for 2 hours. Just kidding, Albert, if he's listening. So before I sign us off, I want to go around and just have you say who you are, what markets you work in, and give and tell us how to get a hold of you, and tell me something positive as we head off of here. So I'll start with you, Sharon.
Okay, I'm Sharon Hyres, in Florida, Future Home Realty, and in South Carolina, RealtyOne Group Freedom in Greenville. And my telephone number is 407-222-4900. 407-222-4900. Yes, I had that a long time. That's why that number's so good. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, or if you just want to talk real estate. And awesome. Positive thing is things are looking up, guys. Think positive, it's there.
Awesome. Thank you. What about you, Donnie?
Donnie Garland with ERA Grizzard Real Estate in Central Florida and ERA Real Estate Professionals in Hampton Roads, Virginia. My number is 407-625-9098, or you can find me online at donnieismyrealtor.com. And a positive note, I just got notice that they have signed and we have funding. So I'm going to go pick up a check for commission.
Woo, 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 woo. All right. How about you, Margie?
Okay. Catherine, Haney, Margie. I'm in Victorville, Apple Valley, Lucerne, up in the high desert where Roy Rogers used to live. I work with my company, Haney Realty, and my phone number is 760-900-8580. And you can find me on Facebook underneath Haney Realty Incorporated, or my personal page, Catherine M. Haney. Thank you all very much. The positive thing I can say is that my sellers right now are doing everything that I suggest that they do for their house, and we're getting offers.
Yay.
Nice job. And it's me, Linda Schulte. I am the broker owner of Schulte Realty here in Central Florida. And just always say about Schulte Realty, we do cover Florida like the sunshine. And you should get a hold of me. It's all been going across the bottom of the screen, obviously. But my positive note is that I want to say I am just so darn happy and thrilled that I have some of the most professional people out there in my world as real estate agents to come on and do this. And I'm going to tell you, there were some people that said, why are you asking other agents on here who are in your market as well? And I said, I have no fear of them. They have no fear of me. They're professionals. We work together. And this is what it's all about, is having those professionals out there who we can talk about situations, and we're professional, and we all come cut from the same cloth: customer service, customer care, servant leadership mentality. How can I help you first, and then let's see how you can help me. That's just kind of what the goal that we need to always focus on. And I think that's a little bit over an hour now. So again, thank you guys all. We're going to have to do this again. I'm getting comments on here right now like, this was awesome. You should need to do it again. And of course we will. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end our broadcast so we can do our little wave goodbye now. What? Bye, everybody. Bye.